why they waited 400 years. So there was a Levite, a Levi, who lived around Har Ephraim. And he took a Pelegish. Now, a Pelegish in those days was not a wife, but a concubine. She didn't have the status of a wife. She wasn't married. And his Pelegish, in some way, was disloyal to him. It's not stipulated what she did. In the Gemara Masechta Gittin, there was a question what she did. She did something, some minor thing. And he was a hot-tempered man. And therefore, because they had a quarrel, so she left him. And she went back to her father in Beis Lechem Yehuda. After 4 months, this hot-tempered man came, and he persuaded her to try again. So they made up, and he took her, they took a servant lad, and they set out on the way home. Now, her father said, what's the hurry? Remain here sometime. If the father hadn't said that, they would have reached their destination quickly. But the father importuned them. He said, remain with us a little longer. So they were late. And when they finally set out, in the middle of the way, the sun began to set. So the servant boy said, let's go to the city of Yevusi. That's the old Yerushalayim before it was conquered. It was a Gentile city. So the Levi said, no, we cannot lodge in a Gentile city. He doesn't want to be in a Gentile city overnight. But not far away is a town, Giveah, in Binyamin. Giveah's Binyamin. And that's where we're going to go. At Giveah's Binyamin, the sun finally set, and they were in darkness. So they encamped in the marketplace of the town. It wasn't a big town. In the marketplace, they encamped. They hoped that somebody would invite them in. Nobody came out to invite them, and that's conspicuous. Nobody came to offer them a place to lodge. But an old man came out who had been working in the fields, and he came home at night, and he said, what are you doing here on the street? I insist that you come into my house for the night. Now, while they were sitting in the old man's house, and they were refreshing themselves, he gave them something to eat, something happened. A very queer and unusual thing happened. Some young fellows from the town got together, and they started knocking on the door. And the old man said, what is it? And they said, we hear that there's a stranger in your home. So bring him out to us, because we want to use him for homosexual purposes. So the old man said, please, he said, my friends, don't do such a wicked thing. But these fellows refused to depart. So what did this Levi do? This Levi took his concubine and he pushed her out to the street. Now, to excuse him is not my job tonight. I'm not interested in that. But I can explain it, because homosexualism is a capital crime. And an unmarried woman is not a capital crime. The truth is, it's really no technical sin in their days. In their time, there wasn't a technical avera at all. Only, it was a question, but in order to prevent a very severe capital crime, the lady pushed her out, and she's a woman. So capital crime, and she wasn't married. So he thought worse came to worse, they would misuse her. And he didn't know what happened. In the morning, when he opened up the door of the house, he found her lying dead on the threshold. She had staggered back after she had been misused, and she died on the threshold. Now, when this Levi saw it, his dead concubine, you have to know he was a violent man. You remember at the beginning, he was a fighter. He fought with her at the beginning. He was a violent man. He's criticized in the Gemara as being a man of very violent temper. The Gemara says in Gittin, a man shouldn't show violence in his house, because he showed violence in his house, and as a result, he caused the shedding of the blood of 75,000 Jews. We'll see what happened. So this violent fellow fell into a rage, and he cut up her body into 12 pieces. And the blood of the Jewish nation boiled in indignation. And now we're coming to the point. You remember in the book of Bereshit, the same story is told about the visitors who came to Lot. And the people of Sodom gathered around the house with the same proposal. Now, it was a long time before. You have to understand this now. Pay attention, and here's the whole point. When the story is related about Sodom, it comes to tell us that this was the regular practice of the Canaanim. Not only Sodom. Sodom was a Canaanite city. In all the Canaanite cities, that was the derech. It was a minig of the Canaanite people to maltreat strangers. A stranger had no rights. The only people who had rights were people from this town, because in this town everybody was kin. Everybody had relatives. In the olden days, you weren't protected by any Bill of Rights. Your relatives took up for you. And therefore, if you are a member of this town, you are a blood relative. A lot of people. Everybody was your relative. So, you always had somebody to protect you. If you were a ger, you were a stranger, you had no blood kin, so you had no rights. They could do whatever they wanted to you. So in Canaan, they did what they wanted. They were a wicked, depraved people, the Canaanites. Their own children, sons and daughters, they used to offer up to their gods, even today. When they excavate old Canaanite altars, they find mounds of bones of little children around the altars, because the Canaanites were that way. The terrors of Canaan, the abominations of Canaan, were famous. And this was one of the abominations. That's how they treated wayfarers. Instead of being hospitable, they maltreated them. Now, Sodom was famous for being more extreme than others. But all the Canaanite cities were like that. Now, the Bnei Yisrael you have to know, were the other end. Not only they didn't have any connection with this, but they were the other extreme. Homosexualism among Jews was an unknown iniquity. The Jewish people had no connection with it at all. It was alien to their minds. There was no Yetzer Hara, even no temptation at all. It was as far as could be possible from their minds. But the Torah warned that you have to beware of allowing the Canaanite to live in that land where you are going to come. Because you'll be ensnared by them. You must get rid of them. Either they must leave the land or you must destroy them. Because there's no question that they're going to ruin you. And the end will be, what I intended to do to them, I'll do to you. I mean, just as the earth, as the land, had to vomit them out because of their wickedness, if you'll start learning from them, the land will vomit you out too. And again the Torah warns. Don't make any friendship covenant with them. Have nothing to do with them. Either they get out, or you have to wipe them out. Now when the Jews came, the Bnei Israel came in Eretz Canaan, they found a friendly people. The Canaanites weren't cutthroats. They were a friendly people. And they were people who cultivated the land. They had beautiful gardens, beautiful homes, botim, toivim, and they had terraced the mountainsides with gardens, every kind of fruit tree. The land was made fertile. It was a beautiful country. Only they were a very corrupt people, very wicked. So the Am Yisrael, the children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, could they fulfill the command to massacre people? To go massacre people? So when Moshe Rabbeinu was alive, Moshe didn't know of anything but the Dvar Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Hashmeid, Vayirmeh Hashmeid. That's what he did. Well, he should have saw it. When Moshe came on the other side of the Yarden, he didn't leave a remnant over it, because he knew. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that's what's going to happen. They have to be wiped out. The land has to be disinfected. Yeshua, same thing. Yeshua was like Moshe Rabbeinu in this respect. But after Yeshua, there was a certain kindliness. They couldn't bring themselves. And so they fell down on this job, and they began to dwell among the Canaanites. Now, if you live among the Canaanites were not filthy, decrepit-looking people. They were people who lived prosperously. And after a time, some of the ways of the Canaanite began to look good in the eyes of the Jews. What ways? There were some ways that weren't so bad. But the Torah says don't imitate anything. Now we have to pay attention. This story is written at the end of Shoftim, but it's in the wrong place. There's a reason why it's at the end. This story belongs at the beginning of Shoftim. Chazal say that. Peregesh begivat, b'imei kushan v'shosayim, may Osniel ben Kenaz. At the very beginning, Osniel ben Kenaz was a shefet when Kushan v'shosayim of Aram was terrorizing the country. Now, so it's the beginning of Shoftim. All this at the end. It's written at the end for a purpose. I won't tell you now why, because it takes too much time. But there's a good reason. Soon as after they came into their land, one time in history, in one place, some low Jewish youths attempted for the first and only time to imitate the Canaanite. And this was the instance, one instance in Peleges Begiva. Now, as soon as the Botei Dinim, the Jewish judges, saw that this was taking place, they realized the great power